I was 46 years old, and I realized that one of the dreams that I had given up on was being able to play an instrument. That all my life I had wanted to play piano or guitar.
Mm.
And I got that for the first time at age 46. Like, why did I give up on that? And then miraculously, a friend of mine posted on Facebook that he was giving guitar lessons at a local music store. And I was like, oh my gosh, Vic, will you teach me guitar? And he's like, yeah. And so I registered for classes and I started taking them. And I was terrible at it at first, which I think
Of
most
course.
guitar players are. Right? And but over time I got better. I practiced a lot, and now uh, I won't say that I'm, like some great musician, but I mostly can find chords for any song that I like online, and I can teach myself to play it, and
Oh,
that makes me really happy.
that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, I'm happy for you. Yeah,
Thank
starting
you.
those things later in life feels really daunting.
Yeah.
I am familiar with that experience, and yet here we are, and unafraid to stick our necks out there and try the new thing. Adults, lawyers don't want to look like we don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing, you know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a
Totally.
grown up, and I'm just like, oh, and a dad. I'm supposed to have the answers. Well, I want to ask the questions now, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's interesting, you and I are close in age. I'll be 59 next month.
Hey,
And
right,
so, it's like I just really got out of that program, like, if not now, when?
yeah,
Like it's never gonna be like the right time, and it's never too late for anything.
right,
Because otherwise you will have done nothing. So I was like,
right,
it doesn't matter if I suck at it, like, who cares?
right.
Um, and it's something that I am constantly reminding associates about, and even partners now, um, that the uncomfortableness that I'm asking them to step into is not something that I have not done myself in a lot of different ways. Lawyers don't get this kind of coaching in college. It's not built
No,
into their experience at their firm. And I think a lot of firms are starting to pay attention to this, like what makes their attorneys successful.
yeah,
And so I think there will be a market for it.
I think so too. And I think that, I mean, what you and I are facing with helping lawyers do the personal, you know, outreach, the face-to-face stuff, the things that you and I know build relationships, is just that much more important every day as AI is, you know, experiencing the sort of tumultuous rise that it is right now. I mean, who knows what direction it's going to go, but it's going to keep moving. And lawyers with great relationships who understand how to use or utilize AI, I think are going to be the most successful. You can't just rely on the technology and stay in your little, you know, bubble and be successful at developing relationships. So, yeah,
Yeah,
good
I totally
stuff.
agree with that. We're having a lot of talks about AI at work right now
I
and
bet.
the implications. I still think that it's not going to be any substitute for the human aspect of it. And that's really what I focus on is the human aspect. And, like it or not, our culture has been moving us further and further away for a long time from social interaction. And I think it's pretty clear that it's one of the things that people struggle with now. It's one of the biggest stumbling blocks that I see for a lot of the associates I work with is just not having the experience in socializing with people.
Right. And socializing outside the office and inside the office.
Correct.
There's been these that you lose the sort of spontaneous mentoring, learning, you know, opportunities that come along, and you lose the opportunity to enhance the culture of business development within your firm, because one of the things that makes business development go in a law firm is people talking about it and generating ideas and brainstorming and supporting each other and collaborating. All of those things go by the wayside when we're not in the same office together. You're remote, I'm remote. We have to really make an effort to do more of that kind of connecting in different ways. And that's, I mean, that's an opportunity for training right there too.
You're absolutely right about that. And, I have two examples of this. The first thing is exactly the way you and I met, um, was by accident, and, being lost together. Um,
Where is the LMA conference in this hotel? I think I'll follow
where
the
are
guy
we
with
going?
gold shoes. That's what I
Yeah.
think I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like, I
The
bet he's
guy
going
with
the
the
same
gold
place I
shoes.
am.
Yeah, the guy with the gold shoes probably knows where he's going. Don't always assume that. Um,
Or, or wherever we go, man, it's going to be awesome.
yes. But what stuck out for me, and that I really appreciated, I didn't necessarily say this to you, but it really left an impression on me from the last day. I was sitting at a table, uh, it- the room was full, and you found a seat at my table and sat right next to me. And then you turned to me and said, "We didn't meet, you know, my name is," and then you gave me your card. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's as easy as that. And
Right,
yet, so many people don't do that.
right.
And so it just really struck me. And, the second thing that I would say is, we have a PR firm that works for us, and, there are a team of people that I interact with there. And the most that I know about them is the meetings that we have every 2 weeks for 30 minutes, and we talk about business, and that's it. Well, one of them needed to verify some information with me last week on Friday, and she called me from her cell phone, or she gave me her cell phone number, and she said, "I'll be calling you, so look out for this number." And when I answered, she said, "Hi, it's, so and so." And I said, "Hi, are you from the Valley?" Because she had an 818 area code, and I know the 818 is, in the old days, from the Valley in LA. And she started laughing, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm from the Valley. How did you know that?" I'm like, "Well, I know a little bit about phone numbers, and my aunt lives there." Well, we had 15-minute conversation about a very specific neighborhood and the Trader Joe's there in Studio City, Los Angeles. And that's something that it could have easily been stepped over if I was just being all business.
Right.
And so I'm always trying to work things in like that because it makes a difference. I promise you, she knows so much more about me and is so much more connected to me now than she ever was before. And it's all because of a simple question.
So good. And so it's a simple thing, but people have a high reluctance to, they feel like they're sticking their neck out or bothering, someone by doing that. But I know that from what you shared with me before we started recording that's a super important thing for you. What was the other story that you had where you were talking with someone and he's a was a motorcycle
Yeah.
guy?
So this is a fairly new associate to the firm, and he was interested. He had missed out on all the previous BD trainings that I had done, and he wanted some coaching on BD. He had some limited success at his previous firm, and he just wanted to talk about how to expand that. And so we had a great conversation, and I gave him some tips on things to do. And follow-up things. And I said, get back to me after you've taken all of these steps. And we were about to hang up. And I said, all right, what are you going to do this weekend? Because it was a Friday. And he said, oh, well, I think I'm gonna go out to dinner with my wife. And then if the weather is good on Sunday, I'm gonna ride my motorcycle. And I was like, oh, cool. What kind of motorcycle do you have? He said, oh, it's a Triumph Bonneville. I don't even know if you know what that is. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? My father had a 75 Bonneville and it was always around the house. Like my father rode it to work every day. And he's like, oh, so you know. And we got into this whole conversation where he's like, my love is not just riding, but I really want to be able to work on it. I don't, he said, I do have a place in New York where I park it and they have a lift for the bike. And it's really great to be able to go there and work on it. And I said, I really get it because it's one of the reasons I bought the house I have is because it came with this giant workshop that has a car lift in it. I'm a car guy. And so, I get to work on my cars. And we just had this really great conversation. And when it was all done, I said, I know that we just talked about this and it was a very real conversation. And I just want to point out to you that's how this works. I promise you that if you joined an organization that had to do with motorcycles, I promise you there would be GCs and CEOs in those organizations because those people like to ride motorcycles too.
Right.
And then in a recent and then the following week we had another BD training which he came to and I asked him if he'd be willing to mock that conversation with me in front of the group and we did. And then I asked for feedback after the conversation and one of the things that he said was he's always reluctant to bring up riding motorcycles because sometimes it can be a polarizing topic. And I said, okay, I totally understand that. And he said, but really, uh, my my suggestion is don't limit yourself. The other person has the ability to bow out of any topic that you raise. I said, you said to me that on the weekend you were going to take your wife out to dinner and then ride your motorcycle. If I had no interest in motorcycles, I could have been like, that's great. Where do you think you're going to go for dinner? Tell me about the restaurant. Like that's, you know, it's a very easy conversation change, and no one has to pick up on what you're saying. But I don't recommend limiting being your authentic self just to prevent other people's discomfort.
Right. You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you decided that it wasn't or it didn't have to be all about motorcycles. I think that that's the common question or barrier that someone would throw up. Well, I don't know anything about motorcycles. I don't know. I don't know anything about anything. How could I possibly hope to have a connection with somebody over something that they're passionate about? Like but you do. You do. You do. You just have to be open to all parts of those conversations and don't be afraid to ask the question. Great. What are you doing this weekend is such an easy one. Where are you from? Where'd you go to school? Where'd you grow up? Like all of those things can lead to great, great conversations.
Yeah, well, I just want to put something in about that,
Yeah.
and that is, it goes back to some training that I've had where it wasn't given to me. That was something that I invented as a strategy for me to connect to people. It was something that we all were grappling with in this training. And one of the things that I got from myself is surprisingly, it's not my given nature to interact with people. I did really well when I first moved to New York City because it was really easy for me to just not talk to people.
Hmm.
And I realized that that was getting in the way of me really getting everything that I wanted to get out of life. And so I created this game that I played, and I really took it on to see. what would open up from it. And so the game is simple. When I interact with any person, I haven't done it so much lately, but there was a time that I did it a lot. When I interact with any person, whether it's somebody I know or a complete stranger, I'd ask two questions. Tell me one thing that's working for you in your life today, and one thing that's not working or not working as well as you'd like it to. The answers that I've gotten to those questions will blow your mind. And what's always there for people is nobody's ever asked me about me.
Hmm.
And I was really blown back by that. And I think that's one of the things that I'm constantly uh, bringing to the table in all of these BD conversations is that thing. You think that it's intrusive to ask these questions when in fact the very person that you're talking to, no one may have ever asked them what's important to them.
Right.
And so I think it just makes such a huge difference to ask people about themselves because most of the time we don't do that. And that really shifted things for me. And that's, what I am all about sharing with other people.
So is that what you carry forward now in the coaching that you're doing with the lawyers at your firm?
Absolutely.
So tell me more about that. How does a coaching session go in that framework?
Each one is different. If I'm working one-on-one with an associate, they're all different. Each one has their own thing that they're bumping up against. Um, And at the same time, there are some similar themes that seem to always show up for people. Um, and so I'm always looking for ways for them to lean into like what are they, I'm trying to think of how to say this.
Hmm.
I'll say it this way. I look for the what they're making things mean. It's a little bit of a strange way to say that, but what I'm asking them is, in life, there's what happened, and then there's what we make it mean.
Okay.
And often, what stops them in their BD activities is something that they made up, meaning, you know, uh, I'm not I'm not good enough yet, or I'm not as smart as the person that I'm reaching out to, or I'm not senior enough, or why should they care that I want to, go out to lunch with them? What, like all of that. And we start to get up under what's behind that. And then usually something opens up around that, and they see that there are actions that they can take. Oftentimes I will have a one-on-one BD session, and the way it starts out is they're flustered and saying that they didn't do the assignments that I gave them to do from the last time we were together. And I'm like, okay, stop right there. There's nothing wrong. It's okay that you didn't do whatever I suggested you do. We're just here to brainstorm. And by the end of the session, they've got like 10 new actions that they can take of people that they didn't think to reach out to, organizations to join, events to attend. Um, their mind sort of starts to open up because instead of dealing with, oh gosh, I'm here and I didn't do what Eldin asked me to do, I free them from that. And I'm like, okay, let's just talk about what you want to achieve. And let's brainstorm about that. And then all of a sudden things start to open up and they're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, let me write that down. And that's really what I'm here for, is to empower them.
And you don't have to do it with a iron fist. You do give them tasks to do, which is good. I think that most lawyers are looking for some structure or format. They want to know, is this the right thing to do? What should I do next? But they're not going to do it if it doesn't feel right, and there are lots of ways that it doesn't feel right. And I think that your approach to that is super interesting because it's like there's no, I will say this here between us, there's no excuse then for them, right? You've taken the wind out of their excuse.
When I'm working with the attorneys, that is one of the things that is front of mind for me, is freeing them up so that they don't have to, you know, be struggling with, well, why didn't they do whatever assignment I gave them? That's not what it's about. What I want them to do is to be free, and to have kind of like an opening for discovery, like for thought, like, okay, well, instead of resisting something, why don't I think about what is available? Well, what could I do next? What could I try? Um, and that's what has them start to move the needle in their own BD, activities.
Your path through law firm roles, various law firm roles, through the course of your career has not necessarily been a straight line. Mine was like that as well. My first law firm job was in the library, of all places. Then I was an IT person, and then, business development leader and marketing leader eventually. So it's a longer and more winding road than that, but you get it. So if a person comes to you and says, "I'm super interested in this, world of marketing and business development inside law firms, I want to make a bigger impact in my firm. Where should I start?" What would you say?
This may seem like not what people want to hear, but my first response would be to ask some questions. Now, the reason for me asking questions is not because I don't have uh, an answer for them. It's that I really want to know more about why they're asking. So, first I would probably ask them, if they're not already in the BD space, what has them attracted to that? Why do they want to do that? Like you, I did not have a linear path here. I thought that I was going to be a menswear fashion designer, at the beginning of my career.
Right
I-
on.
that's that's what I moved to New York City for. And then I ended up at a law firm doing trial graphics. And then eventually became the manager and started working in marketing and BD. And here I am years later. So I'd first want to know, just get a temperature of like, well, what has them interested? If it's somebody who's already in that space and they're looking to branch out or expand what they're doing for BD, I'd probably ask them about what already exists. I could be just telling them what I think they should have, but maybe those things already exist. So I'd ask them what they already have. And then, going back to what I said before, I'd probably ask a similar question about what's working and what's not working.
Sure. Sure.
And what that does, those two questions work in so many different scenarios because it has the person stop dealing with the circumstances and just talk about it in a factual way. Well, what's working for me today is, like I'm having a good hair day, which I'm not today, but
I am.
eh, and what's not working is I had big weekend plans and and the weather is going to be terrible. Okay. So it gives a person an opportunity to just to say the what so without dealing with the circumstances. And as it relates to their BD practice, then what it does is it kind of frees them up to then start to talk about it a little bit more openly. All these questions are, again, like I said, with the associates, is to free them up to get curiosity going. That's when new things start to arise, is when we have curiosity, and I would say sense of humor. Um,
Helpful.
there is no sense of humor present when somebody is stuck or angry or upset about something. No sense of humor. The second sense of humor and curiosity show up, that's when new ideas show up. And so this is really me asking those questions is really for me to get them to a place where curiosity and a sense of humor can show up, because then they start to see, oh, okay, I could do this. I could stop being so self-conscious and I could do this other thing. I could laugh. I could have fun with this.
And then they can manifest from there.
Yep.
What's going to be the brighter path for them to follow?
Yeah. I would say also, one thing that I think is missing for a lot of firms is just having some regular trainings. It's
Yeah.
something that we saw was very important when the firm first opened, was, that we have regular trainings for the associates about BD. We do provide them with a budget, a yearly budget for them to actually go out and take people out, get to know them, build relationships. And so the trainings are really, to support them and empower them to go out and actually use it and put it to good use.
Right. Strengthen the muscle that is going to
Yeah,
become ever more valuable downstream. If it's built
absolutely.
early, it feeds you more later. That's for sure.
Yes.
Eldin, I'm so glad we had this conversation. I really appreciate how open you are to talking about a wide variety of topics and very interesting approaches that you're taking in helping your lawyers develop more business. I don't try to lean into the name of the podcast too much, but we're all catalysts for their success. And it's fun to hear the different ways that you're able to do it. And I appreciate how you do it without sacrificing who you are to get the job done. That's sometimes I think people can get lost in their work and their drive to be successful in a high pressure environment can strip away their personality and personal desires and the things that they want to do. I'm glad to see that you're keeping that balance well in hand.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a real pleasure and an honor to be here, and so great talking to you. And I just want to say thank you again for that moment where you turned around and introduced yourself and gave me your card. Um, you know, the last thing I'll say about that is the very first few times I went to LMA, what I had in my mind was, I'm not like these people. I don't belong here.
Oh,
And I didn't really understand what that was about. And this last conference, I really got what it was about, is that I do belong there, and I am like those people, like the people at LMA, like
yeah.
you. The difference is that I don't have to sacrifice my individuality to be part of that. And so I got to be there and be exactly who I am in the same way that I'm exactly who I am at the office. I don't have to change who I am. I don't have to be a stiff shirt. I don't have to dress a certain way, speak a certain way. I get to just play full out, be me, and just be the best that I can.
I love it. I wish everybody was as fortunate as you. Maybe they can be. Maybe they are, and they just don't realize it. They haven't asked what's working and what's not, and peeled back the layers of that onion. That's a nugget that I'm going to keep with me for sure.
Okay, good.
Thanks again, Eldin. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
The BD Catalyst, a podcast for law firm business development and marketing changemakers, is brought to you by Lawyer Book Builder and BDBuddy.ai, technology designed to help law firms create an exceptional culture of business development. Our host is Kristo Sween, and our editor is Melanie Cristostomo. The BD Catalyst is a production of the David Freeman Consulting Group. Learn more at davidfreemanconsulting.com.